Well, dear friends and companions of my channel, we have reached another exciting course, penetration testing course of industrial networks known as ICS SCADA. First of all, thank you for becoming a member of my channel, and I hope you will receive useful information. Then I must state that if you want to see this course, you must have taken introductory security and penetration testing courses such as CEH or SANS code 504. Because we don't have the opportunity to teach elementary subjects here, so I recommend that if you are new to cybersecurity, first watch my CEH course on this channel and then start this course again. You can also comment your questions below this video so that I can answer quickly. That's all. Thank you. But what about the industrial networks or ICS and SCADA, and what's that? This lesson is lesson 1, and this is a specific for introduction of this course. What is the SCADA or ICS? The ICS is complex of equipment in an industrial environment that provides all functions needed to implement a network based on IT and OT. OT means operational technology. For perform a specific mechanical task, for example, for producing a thing in a factory, producing oil, producing gas, and any other item, producing electricity, and any other items like this. What you will learn in this course. First, terminology of ICS, DCS, what is ICS, what's DCS, what is PLC, HMI, MTU, RTU, SCADA, etc. There is many terminology items, and there is many words and such as these items, you should know about that. Another item is ICS SCADA levels and related devices, also services understanding. In ICS networks and industrial networks, such as the IT network that has the OSI model, if you remember in Network Plus, in CCNA course, maybe in Microsoft Networking Services course and so on, there is some OSI layers that packet generated by working all of that layers together. Like that, in ICS network, we have some items like that. We call that ICS levels. Levels contains contain various types of items. For example, controllers, field devices, supervisory levels, databases, and many other items. We will describe all of that. And how PLC works. What is PLC? PLC means the chipset. If I want describe simple, means as the main part of any industrial networks that perform programmed commands on that and perform again and again in such as the loop, performing specific commands for example producing something such as for instance such as producing for example the keyboard in the main IT-based factory. And we will know about how it is configured and how it is works. And understanding ICS devices and network protocols. Like IT networks, ICS or industrial networks has some protocols for making data and transfer data between the industrial devices. Like this picture, this image you can see. This is the oil network, hardware simulated oil network. And I will describe all our items in oil, in electrical, and many other industrial networks. We will understand ICS of devices, for example, sensors, for example, actuators, and many other items, as well as network protocol used for transferring industrial data between all devices. Another item is understanding ICS designing and maps. When you want to perform the industrial network, definitely it requires some map, some designing map, and requires some designing map for that network for define how the devices connected together, and what's the networking protocol, what's the security items, what's the hardware items, what's the ICS levels, and so on. I will show you real network map for some oil networks map, for some electrical map, and many other items. And I will describe all of you part by part and item per item. So it is completely real, and you will learn complete about all of designing the ICS networks, and that's security, and that's for example vulnerabilities, and any other items may be useful for you. Understanding security threats for ICS or SCADA networks. In this part, we will learn about type of cybersecurity attacks related to ICS or SCADA networks, and how we can find their vulnerabilities, how we can consider and advise best practices for providing security against threats or against that vulnerabilities. Another item is ICS SCADA penetration testing. In this part, we will perform many lab manual, practical lab manual, completely practical lab manual for performing how we can implement penetration testing against the ICS or SCADA networks in test environment. All of our testing is under our control, is under testing environment, not is under real network, because it is very, very dangerous, and don't implement that anytime. And we will describe about identifying vulnerabilities and penetration testing. For example, discovering vulnerabilities, ICS SCADA network, how to perform all types of penetration testing attacks, designing some lab manual for ICS SCADA, or perform step-by-step pen testing on an ICS SCADA network, and how we should write down the pen test report for any ICS SCADA network using wireless connection in ICS SCADA, and what its Wi-Fi attacks, and how we can defend against that attacks. Also in many levels, for example, such as IT networks, when you want to perform penetration testing, you perform attacks against layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, and so on. The ICS network is like that. Maybe you can perform penetration testing against level 0 or level 1, for example, for field devices, for supervisory systems, for SCADA systems, and so on. Well, another item is for providing security in your ICS SCADA networks. In this part, we will learn how we can provide enough security configuration and devices, and many solutions for making safe our ICS network. For example, for performing infrastructure security, for example, considering security standards, for example, considering cybersecurity checklists for ICS, common ICS security technologies to defend against attacks. For example, how we can configure firewalls for ICS network, and what's the firewalls, hardware firewalls or software firewalls for ICS, and how we can configure IDS or intrusion detection systems for ICS network, and how we can configure honeypot for ICS, and many items, security items we will learn for defining the required security items, for example, making data secure for prevent sniffing the data in our industrial network as well. And what's the architecture of ICS SCADA system? From this point, the course is started. The one or more main equipment that produce or perform a specific industrial task, such as a chemical mixer. This is called PLC. PLC, like a chipset that produce or perform a specific industrial task, perform a specific industrial task for again and again in a loop, for example, for managing chemical mixer for making materials. Some computer systems that has monitoring responsibilities, so you can see how the system works, and when the system occurs error or not. It is called HMI, Human Machine Interface. Some computer systems that has programming main equipment responsibilities. It is used for programming. It is not PLC. PLC is programmed by this device, that is Engineering Workstation, or EWS. That is the computer has related software for programming PLC. Another item for architecture of ICS is central control system, which should control all processes. All PLCs may contain one backplane, one motherboard that's on that puts many PLCs and control all process in the factory. It is called DCS, or distributed control systems. Some physical systems that provide security for prevent physical damage or unpredictable industrial events means emergency shutdown, or ESD systems. Some instrumental devices that has responsibility of performing many commands in an industrial network. It is known as RTU. And network infrastructure for providing data transfer backbone, such as switches or firewalls. That's all for this video. For example, you can see some items I described about ICS in previous slide. This is HMI. HMI may be a computer, may be a predefined or ready panel that has firmware, that has OS, operating system, and its responsibility is monitoring all network. Another item is workstation, or EWS, engineering workstation, that has responsibility of programming the PLC, the brain, and the main part of each industrial systems that controls the devices. This is HMI, workstation, or EWS, the switch that's making all devices communicate with each other, and the PLC has responsibility of sending command for producing, for stopping, starting engines, and so on, and some low-level devices that, for example, such as sensors or actuators that show us the status of each device, or of each network, or of each part of network. For example, this is the DCS Some example, these items are PLC or CPUs and connected through the switch. And this is another one. This is a switch, industrial switch. This is industrial firewall. And this is the backplane. If I zoom in, you can see this is the backplane, such as motherboard and the CPUs. They put on that and connected through networking cables, such as this one, such as, for example, this one. If you see exactly, you can see these are the LAN interfaces connected, and this is the industrial net switch. This is industrial firewall, and many other items using for control that. That's all, dear friends. This was the first lesson, and I introduced quickly what's the ICS course, and we will start an exciting and really exciting course. We will learn so much items about industrial networks and how we can perform penetration testing on that, and how we can get report for that to make all industrial networks safe in all of the world and defend against attack.